So this is kind of a three-part series here. The first one was on security and how not to get killed or robbed when you're picking up or selling a dog. The second one is how to avoid scams when you're buying puppies. And the third one, this one right now, is how to avoid being scammed when you're selling somebody a puppy. So what can go wrong? Well, of course, things that can go wrong is somebody sticks a gun in your face when you go to deliver the puppy. And we talked about that in the first video about doing this in a secure location, like, in a parking lot at a police station, and how you can arm yourself with appropriate things like wasp spray that's dirt cheap, that you're not going to get in serious trouble if you spray the wrong person. So arm yourself and be prepared. But remember that when you're selling a dog, the person who's buying the dog, they're also thinking that potentially they're going to get scammed. So you've got to think about this intelligently so that you can give your buyer the security that they must have, but not putting yourself in a situation where they steal your dog or take your dog away and then undo the transaction. So let's talk about undoing transactions. The way that you get paid can determine whether or not somebody has got recourse so they can take the money back. So here are the ways that I know will cause you problems, potentially. Checks. Somebody gives you a check, can be a bounced check, they can cancel a check, it can be a fraudulent check. They're going to do the thing on the weekend where you can't call the bank up to even check it. Don't like checks. Checks are okay for deposits, but they're not okay after you pick the dog up. The check has got to have been cleared the bank before I'm going to accept a check. And when I say cleared the bank, it doesn't mean that you just took the check and gave it to the bank. The bank then has to take that check and send it to the banking system that they're writing the check on to make sure those funds clear. It has to clear the bank. So that can take 10 days. So that means that people need to give you deposits and final deposits in check form quite a bit ahead of time before you're going to pick the dog up. PayPal. PayPal is, it's used a lot. I use it on my breeder supply a lot, but it's fraught with problems. And so the problem with PayPal is that somebody can use PayPal and they can even do what we call friends and family, where you think you're safe. You think, oh, I've got the money, they can't reverse the charge. They actually used a credit card to fund their PayPal. So now you have the PayPal company and the credit card with the customer at the other end of this. The customer then makes a claim to the credit card company that says, not what I wanted, the dog's got problems, didn't get the dog, whatever. The credit card company tells PayPal they want the money back. PayPal gives them the money back. You have a dispute and you don't have any legs to stand on. There's not a bloody thing you can do. This is painful. I've been there. In fact, I've been there to the tune of Sarah Spalding. If you're watching this, Sarah Spalding, you're a cheating bastard. So she's somebody who took me for about $8,000. My mistake, I'm not going to do that one again. So I'm just letting you know, don't fall. If you're doing PayPal, the majority of your transactions will be fine, but there is not a damn way that you can be secure on a PayPal transaction. You can guarantee that it won't be reversed. Same thing on a cashier's check. Just because somebody gave you a cashier's check does not mean it's legitimate. The only way that you can find that a cashier's check is legitimate is ultimately to have it clear the bank. You certainly can call the bank up, the issuing bank, to make sure that that is a valid check. And by the way, don't take the phone number of the check on the cashier's check. You better Google that and make sure they haven't been clever and written that in themselves. I've taken cashier's checks before and I've not done very well on these. So be careful. So what are the things that are safe? Wire transfers, cash. Of course, cash has its own problems in terms of people wanting to steal stuff, but cash, wire transfers, Western Union, Walmart to Walmart, those are the methods that that as best I know are completely safe. Problem is, from the buyer's point of view, I would not want to give you a Western Union unless I knew you very well. I know that these things aren't reversible. So I would much rather, if I'm buying a dog from you, do the transaction face to face and get everything finalized at that point so that I'm not being scammed as the buyer. Okay, so here are some other ones that go on. Now here's one that was perpetrated on my father-in-law when he was selling cars. They wanted to buy a car, they didn't negotiate the price. That's another thing, by the way, is that somebody immediately accepts the dog without hardly any questions at all. Oh yes, we want that dog. They don't ask anything else, they just say, oh, we want the dog. Now you're all excited because you've got your dog sold, but the fact is they didn't ask you a damn question about the dog. Yeah, it's probably a scam. So the way this one works is, yes, I'm going to have my person pick the dog up. They're going to give you a cashier's check. And can you also, I'm going to make it up for more than what you want for the dog, but can you give them $500 because they'll need that for traveling money. So you then took a fake cashier's check and you gave them $500 worth of cash and you gave them the dog. Oh my God, that's a bad day. Don't fall into that one. Okay. Yeah, so, and the other thing is a lot of these transactions are going to happen, if they're in-person transactions, the person's going to want to do this when the banks aren't open, later at night, potentially in places where you could get robbed, dark places, you know. So just be careful of those. People coming to your house to pick up a puppy, you need to have somebody else present with you, maybe even somebody else in a back room with a phone in their hand, just in case. I mean, you know, these things happen, and there's not like they're happening all the time, but they do happen. They're in the news all the time, so be careful. I think that is pretty much it. All right, so good luck with your buying and selling of puppies. Enjoy them, and most important thing is be safe. There we go. Subscribe to us if you like more of this stuff. If you hate what we're doing, tell us. If you like us, tell us. If you want to do other videos you think we should do, tell us. Bye, everybody.